From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBacks, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic, which is going to be this. It's going to be the Phillies blow out DBacks 10-0 and take 2-0 lead to Phoenix. Wow. Just incredible game last night for the Phillies. The Phillies played magnificent baseball. They won 10-0 last night. They just really had it clicking on all cylinders last night. They took advantage of, pretty much a very good pitcher in Zach Gallen, and Aaron Nola did his job, 10-0. And it's just like you just ask yourself, why couldn't the Dodgers do this, man? So we could have a real series, because seriously, I thought the Diamondbacks were going to take their hot streak into the championship series, give the Phillies a little bit of, give the Phillies a little bit of an issue. But it really does look like the Phillies are headed back to their second World Series in a row. And this time they're coming for everything. That's exactly the attitude that you see with the Phillies right now. And yeah, I know they had the first two games at home, and they are absolutely lights out at home as well, too. This team is at right now 6-0 at home. That's absolutely incredible. Actually, 7-0 at home now, because they did win 3 in a row against the 2 in a row. I'm sorry. I keep thinking that they were in the CS. But yes, 6 wins at home, and they are pretty much 2-1 and 1-1 on the road. So this team has not had to travel much, and the Diamondbacks haven't been able to be at home much. But the Diamondbacks did win their only home game, which could have been a loss, but the Dodgers just didn't have the energy that day. But the Phillies really are confident, man, and it's tough when a team beats you 10-0 the way that they did. When they go back to Arizona, it's like they're still going to be hot. Are you going to be able to are you going to be able to cool them off? And I just really don't feel like this team is capable of doing that. It's just not in the cards for this team at the end of the day. I know that they're going to have Bavat pitching on Thursday. That's going to be something that could be helpful for them or be something detrimental for them. But when you just look at the numbers, it's like, Arizona got here on a fluke. You know what I mean? And, they did well. They got 2 sweeps. They caught the Dodgers off guard. They kind of caught the Brewers slipping a little bit. The Brewers should have took them a little bit more seriously. And, it's just a matter of numbers. And I feel like, the Phillies are a determined bunch. They know what it takes to get to the World Series. The Diamondbacks just kind of got here. And this is what I said on Mike's show last week. It gets kind of disappointing when it's teams that had to take the final weekend to get into the playoffs, and then teams that actually have played up to the standard of being a playoff team, they got to go out in the first weekend, because we have a playoff format that kind of favors teams that get to play in wild cards. It kind of is detrimental towards teams that have won their division and get a bye. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have those luxuries like that. I truly do feel that they got to keep this thing going, and I think possibly they might need to reduce the wild card series to 1 game, so you can really give the true teams an opportunity to get to the promised land, because we're going to keep having bad championship series that end up in 5 games and 6 games. If it was Dodgers Phillies, you would have it in your head that it's possibly going 7. Now you look at this Phillies Diamondback series, and I've picked the Diamondbacks to win the series. You say to yourself, there's no chance this team wins the series. They're just not good enough. It's just too early for them. Period, point blank. And they were playing with house money, and now everything's starting to become reality. You know what I mean? The chariot is turned back into a pumpkin. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. And the Phillies are looking good going to Arizona. The series isn't over yet, but after last night, your confidence in the Diamondbacks has to wane a little bit. It's just the truth of the situation. It's that simple. So with that, let's go move forward and jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be the ALCS Game 3. We have the Rangers and the Astros tonight. We have the Rangers back at home, actually, so sorry about that. It's not that they're on the road or anything, but they are back at home in Arlington, playing their second game of the playoffs at home. And then Max Scherzer has to rear his ugly head into this situation right now because Max Scherzer has to get some type of credit pitching for the Rangers. It was supposed that his season was over. Now all of a sudden he can pitch. And I truly do feel that he didn't believe in this team enough until now. You know what I mean? And I think that, he is kind of pushing it. He's kind of forcing it. And that's going to be a little detrimental towards this Rangers team that's really should be focused on putting out pitchers that are healthy enough to pitch for them. Max Scherzer has already proven that he's not that healthy in Texas. And how can he improve after pretty much saying his season was over? Now, you know what? He's doing the same thing he did in Los Angeles where, he had a couple little back issues, couple little shoulder issues, and he wants to pitch every other day. And pretty much it's not the same case here with the Rangers, but my whole thinking is this, that, Max Scherzer, do they really need you? Because at the end of the day, he did really nothing. He just got traded for a bunch of prospects and has wound up being a good dugout guy. But all in all, being a factor on the field, that really has not occurred. So him coming in tonight, that's more motivational than anything. That's to get the crowd pumped up, get the crowd going, give the Rangers a bit of confidence in this spot. But I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Do not sleep on the Houston Astros. I do not care what anybody says. Yes, the Rangers are doing good. Yes, the Rangers have won. Seven games in a row, okay? And 6 of those games were on the road. All right. So they have the magic touch. They have the magic glow right now. And that's good. But the Astros are a team, they play very well on the road. They're actually better on the road, to be honest with you. They're 2-0 on the road now. And I truly do feel that this team is going to go in here with the idea that, it's game time. It's on time. And that's where they're at right now. And they know that their backs are against the wall. The Astros are actually better when this happens. Think about it. They were in the World Series. Even though they lost this World Series, they won all 3 games in Washington, okay? Last year, when the going got tough, what happened? They went to Philadelphia, won 3 in a row in a hostile environment. It's tough to win in Philadelphia. They won all 3. So I'm telling you right now, you cannot sleep on the Astros. The Astros are the one team that can get behind in a series and you don't get that worried about it. And I saw something. Are they cooked? Are they done? Look, the Astros and the Diamondbacks are not the same. They just aren't, okay? The Astros lost game 1 2-0. All right. The game 2, they lost 5-4. That game could have went either way. You look at the Diamondback situation, they got shut out in game 1. Well, no, they lost 5-3 in game 1, and then they get beat 10-0. They're not the same. They are not the same. And Houston, I feel like they're bringing out their best pitching on the road, not at home, on the road, because they trust their hitters at home, but they trust their pitch. They want their pitching well on the road. So it's really a very good series. you guys still have to understand this series has 7 games written all over it. I know that the Rangers jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but I can easily see the Rangers being able to take 2 out of 3 here in Houston, if not all three games here in Arlington. I mean, so pretty much we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but this is going to be a great series all in all. And I kind of think this is going to settle who's going to win the World Series this year, to be honest with you. Even though Philadelphia does look like the favorite, in my opinion, you know what I mean? But when you look at these two teams, you know that one of these teams has the capability of winning the World Series this year. And you know what? The Rangers will probably be the best story of winning a World Series in the last decade if they're able to pull it off. Because the way that this team was constructed, they weren't supposed to be this good yet. They were supposed to be maybe a sneaky wild card team, but they were about a year away from being the team that they are today. That's the whole thing, and that's what makes this so special with the Rangers. I felt like the Rangers were ready now, and they're right here, ready now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. This is going to be a great game tonight in Arlington. I expect this one to be back and forth. I expect great pitching tonight, and I also expect the Astros to win this game tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the NBA. The NBA preview for the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets, fresh off of a trade of Kevin Porter Jr., who had some off-court issues and everything like that. Even though his girlfriend came out and said that he didn't do anything or whatever it was, it doesn't matter. The report was already put out, and the report was put in a position in a state to where it was a nasty situation that happened. So even if she says that it's untrue, everything like that, that's the story that they're running with. That's the story that the public has, and that's the story that the public is going to stick with because they don't believe you anymore. That's the whole thing. And so now this young man's career is a little wrecked now because of people not being able to tell the truth or people exaggerating the situation. But all in all, though, do you deserve to be in the NBA acting like that? That's the biggest question that I have. Probably not. So Houston did do themselves a favor. Houston went ahead and got rid of the bullshit. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Guys have to put their NBA careers before their egos. I don't care who it is. You know what I mean? I don't care how young you are. You've decided to go to the NBA. You've decided to be a part of the league, so you have to be a part of the rules. You're not bigger than the league. That's what the biggest problem with the NBA is today, is that a lot of these young guys think that they're bigger than the league because they were some high school phenom or they were some guy who was really good in college. No, it doesn't work like that. And when I'm looking at this roster right now, you have a team in this squad, they're young. Okay, they're very young. They got a lot of young players that are very talented, but they're still learning how to win in this league. Now, they do have some pretty good young guns, and a guy like an Alper Sagan. Sagan is a very good player. The kid is really good. He was drafted in 2021, and has became developed into one of the better low post players in the league. He's a great rebounder. He's a great low post scorer. But the guy that excites me the most on this team is Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is 6'11". Kid went to Auburn. He was the absolute truth at Auburn. And I feel like he just gets better by the game, and he can play to the big moments that you need superstars to play to. And I feel like Jabari Smith, with a lot of the games that they won last season, Jabari Smith was very instrumental in that their team winning those games. So he's going to have to be more of a force this year to get them to where they really want to go to. And I know they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but they can be a team that does wreak a little bit of havoc, win some really good games, and just keep building. They would be good if they make their real expectations to win 30 games this year, okay? Because they won 17 last year. They were up under 20 games last year. So why don't we try to get 13 games better? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to catch all the way back up. Your team's just not good enough yet. But they do have some players that will be able to step up their games this year, be very crucial to what they're doing. Jalen Green is another guy that everybody's very high on as well too. He was a top pick in the draft as well, and you feel like, hey, Jalen Green should be a guy that can do a lot of good things for this team. But I think, though, at the end of the day, if they can get this guy to do exactly what they envision him to do, and that's going to be Mr. Asur Thompson. That kid is something special, and I feel like he's gonna be, the guy if he wants to be. And pretty much their team is set up in the fashion to where, this is gonna be what they are. This is what they're gonna be. You know what I mean? And I just truly feel that, when you get that type of a group here, you can do a lot of things. And I see that Ryan Cunningham, Ryan Hollins, all these Ryans I grew up with in Pasadena, but Ryan Hollins did grow up with me in Pasadena as well too. But Ryan Hollins does the color commentary for the Rockets, and he's very excited about what they're about to be capable of doing this year as well too. So that's exciting, you know what I mean, when you think about it. And then you got Dylan Brooks as well too. Dylan Brooks is going to be a key piece to the maturity of this team as well. So there's just a lot of things that you say, okay, there's things that we can work out, and there's things that's going to make this team really be able to set themselves apart from the rest of the NBA. So all in all, that's my take on the Houston Rockets. I got them going over their win total this year, but I don't have them winning more than 30 games this year either, because I know that they're still in the 20s when it comes down to it. Let's get the exact number, though. The Rockets over under for the wins total this year. And the Rockets will come in at, the Rockets do have it at 31 and a half games. So I think that they can win 30 games. So actually, I got them going. So I would probably say under 31 and a half is the best bet. I think that's the best bet that you can make on the Rockets right now. But if they go over that threshold, that's going to be amazing for this team. And you'll really, really be like, well, they deserve it, because when you're really trying to build to be a great team, you deserve the best things in the NBA. Now, let's go ahead and move forward. Let's jump into our next game, which our next topic, which is going to be this. This is going to be the NBA preview with the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are another team that really does kind of look at themselves as a team that's in flux a little bit. They're putting things together for the future. And I think that they have one of the better stars in the league, young stars in the league, in Tyler Halliburton. And it's not Tyler Halliburton either. It's Tyrese Halliburton. But thing is, they got a really good player in him, and he's a guy that I truly do feel that is going to be impact player all throughout the NBA. He could possibly be the starting point guard in the All-Star game. That's how good Halliburton truly is. And I know that he got a lot of improvement from going and playing in the FIBA with the rest of the higher end NBA players as well. So that should be a lot of fun. You got a great backcourt with him and Mathurin, the kid from Arizona. And then Jarace Walker is a very good player. Andrew Nembhard is proven to be a very good clutch shooter. Ask the Lakers, because he did beat the Lakers last year on a late buzzer beater. Also, you got guys like Jalen Smith, who should be pretty good as well too, who did some pretty good things last year. Miles Turner's still with this team as well too. But a guy that really sticks out to me, and if he's able to be on the big boy squad for the rest of the year, it's going to be Oscar Tshiebwe. This guy, it's funny because he was the Naismith College Player of the Year 2 years ago. Nobody even mentioned him last season when he was playing for Kentucky because they weren't a top 10 team all year. But the craziest thing is this guy was considered the best player in college basketball, came back for his senior season or junior season, and nobody made a big story out of it. So I think with his progression and who he truly is, he could be the biggest impact on this team. And then you got a guy in Bruce Brown who's going to actually be used a lot more in Indiana, which is going to be pretty good for this guy moving forward. And Obi Toppin looks to salvage his career. Let's just keep it real. Because if Obi Toppin doesn't do well here in Indiana, he'll probably be on to the next team or something of that nature. But he'll be considered a flop. Let's keep it real. You know what I mean? But you want better from Obi Toppin. I truly do, because Obi Toppin was supposed to be a really good player coming into the NBA. It's never worked out that way. Isaiah Wong could be a good guard, but it seems like they got a lot of guards. You know what I mean? They got a lot of guys doing the same exact thing. And that's where your team kind of runs into a little bit of trouble. So I think that this Indiana team is more of an assets team, and that's what they're going to be doing this year. They got a lot of guys that they can move around for pieces. That's the whole thing. Buddy Hield will probably be a guy that's going to be on a lot of people's trade boards. Miles Turner will probably be a guy as well too. Daniel Theus as well too. I'm just looking at players here. Aaron Neesmith might be a guy that they might be want to move. But I would say Tyrese Halliburton is a guy who's safe. Bruce Brown is safe. We know Buddy Hield is always in trade talks. And, you look at other players, and Obi Toppin as well, too. He'll be a guy who's a part of trade talks as well, too. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. The Pacers are they're a very irrelevant team in the NBA at this point right now. They don't really have much, okay? And I don't think that anybody needs to go that crazy over what they're doing. They do have a good over-under situation, though. They're saying that this team could possibly be a team that can be, in the playoff race. And they got them at a 38.5 for their win total. I think they're giving them a bit too much, okay? The under 38.5 is actually a plus 100 over at Caesars, to be exact. So, it's a weird situation, because they're saying the under doesn't look likely, but it looks very likely, in my opinion. This team looks like they'll be losing 10 in a row here, 12 in a row there, and nobody's going to care. And when they go on a winning streak, nobody's going to care. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Pacers are just another middling team that's just going through the motions of the NBA. Could they be better? Yes. But do I see them being better? No. So with that, we move forward, and let's go ahead and get ready for our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into the AP Top 25. The SEC, is it still the most dominant conference in the college football ranks? And then we talk about the CFB Wednesday night. And after that, we got Talkin Tickets. So with that, you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DBacks, the PrimeTime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DBacks, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DBacks, the PrimeTime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into the AP Top 25. We got ourselves nothing really changed at the top. Of course, it didn't change at the top because they didn't lose. Georgia's still the number one team in the nation. Okay, we knew that though. As long as Georgia keeps winning, they'll still be the number one team in the nation. Michigan, once again, they have a blowout win. They absolutely crush on Saturday. Like, it was ugly what Michigan did. You know what I mean? Like, it was bad. You know what I mean? Michigan wins 52-6. It's just damn. Like, damn, dude, did you even pitch them? You know what I mean? Jeez Louise, Wolverines improved to 7-0, 4-0 in conference. Ohio State comes back out. They had a very thorough game themselves. They were able to go ahead and destroy Purdue. That was like a practice game in a sense. But Ohio State 6-0 now. 3-0 in conference play. You got Florida State, who's number 4. They're still 6-0 in the season, 4-0 in conference play as well, too. You got Washington, who had their big win last week against Oregon. I think that they should have been a little higher. Washington could have possibly been the third-ranked team in the nation because that win kind of trumps both of the wins that Florida State and Ohio State had because they beat teams that they were supposed to beat. Washington had to really go ahead and eat that one out and come back from a serious, deficit that was there in the final minutes of the game. And, Oregon made one of the biggest bonehead mistakes that you could ever make, going for it on fourth down in the middle of the at midfield. The smartest idea for them would have been to punt the ball, give the defense a chance to really try to win the game. And I thought that was the absolute biggest mistake that one of these coaches can make all season long and really cost the Oregon some real standing, in the top 10. They could have been a team that would have been in the top 5 this week. But now they're the number 9 team in the nation, which isn't bad, but still, be better. Just be better. Oklahoma, number 6, they didn't change. They didn't move much, but they're 3-0. They had a good victory last week as well, too. Penn State getting ready for their big one against Ohio State. We'll be talking about that game this week as well, too. So you guys be ready for that because already we know what the Big Ten game of the week is. So we'll definitely be talking about that as well, too. Then we also have the Texas game as well too. Texas is pretty consistent. They're 2-1, 5-1 overall. They're number 8 in the nation. Then you have Oregon now number 9. They only fell off by a spot. That's it. They didn't fall drastically out. The game was too close for them to get bounced like that. North Carolina, number 10 in the nation. They've only moved up 2 spots. That's just, wow. They beat Miami, number 25 team in the nation, and they move up 2 spots. Okay, that's why nobody's really taking North Carolina as seriously as they should. Then you have Alabama, who's still outside of the top 10 for the 4th week in a row. They're sitting at number 11 right now, but they're 4-0 conference play, 6-1 overall in the season. Oregon State came up with a big win. They find themselves now number 12 in the nation, and they are 6-1 overall on the season. Then you also have Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 5-1 on the year, 2-1 in conference play, but number 13. They haven't really fell off too much. Their only loss is to Alabama. You got Utah, who slides back to number 14. But this team should start rising because we know that some big upsets are on the way because Cam Rising is back, and that's going to be the key factor in getting Utah back to where they want to be. Notre Dame 6-2. They just got themselves a great win over USC that pretty much moved them up the top 25 board, and they find themselves now number 15 in the nation, rightfully so, because they have the right type of schedule to warrant them to be in that spot, even with 2 losses. Duke, number 16 now, coming off of a great win against North Carolina State. That was a really thorough win by them. Tennessee having their biggest game of the season this weekend. They are 2-1, 5-1 on the year as well too. was pretty huge for them moving forward. They got a big game coming up this weekend. USC drops all the way to number 18 from number 10. It's finally, we're all kind of happy about that because we know that USC was never a top 10 team. You know, you got to have a good defense to match up with your offense. And if you don't have a good defense, it doesn't matter how great your offense is, you're not a top 10 team. So pretty much USC number 18. You got LSU number 19. Still sticking around, LSU. But LSU is number 19 in the nation at 5-2, 4-1 in conference play. Then you have Missouri, who's 6-1 on the season. Pretty good team, though, Missouri. Number 20 in the nation as well, too. So they're playing a lot better than what they were expected to be. Also, you have Louisville, who's 6-1 on the year, and they had a really, really bad loss this weekend. And I don't know why they're still ranked. They lost to Pittsburgh by 17, but they were on the road as well, too. And that's a rivalry game, so it happens. So pretty much they did not get bounced out because they're still using that Notre Dame win as a measurement on who they truly are. And then you have Air Force number 22. Quietly, now they are the de facto Mountain West team that could possibly be playing on New Year's or New Year's Eve, unless, they get upended by those boys from Fresno, because that's going to be a good game. Fresno and Air Force, let's see when they match up. Actually, they don't match up. Sorry about that. They're not playing each other this year. So Fresno, so they'll play each other in a championship game. But at this point right now, they're not on each other's schedule, so they don't have to see each other. But Fresno State got the week off anyway. And the crazy thing is, you got UNLV, who's actually in second place right now, a 5-1 team, but they're not going to be getting ranked anytime soon. So we can cut that out right there. Tulane, number 23 in the nation, 5-1 on the season, 2-0 in conference play. Iowa, who's got a big one last week against Wisconsin. They move into number 24 in the nation. And then you got UCLA, only team with a losing record in conference play, but they're number 25 because they do have a team that is a top 25 team. And they got a big game coming up this week. That's going to be against Stanford as well, too. They're going to be playing against the Trees on Saturday at Stanford. This is going to be the final Pac-12 game between these two teams as well too in the football world. So it's going to be a lot of emotion to that one. It truly is. So pretty much with that, that's going to be the wrap on the top 25 for this week. Top 25 really didn't change much. You still got most of the usual suspects there, and you know what? It's really, really getting to the nitty-gritty of the situation in college football. So you just have to bear with it and know that you're going to have about 4 teams in the top 10 lose this week. Just be ready. That's all I can say. Be ready. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next one, which is going to be this. This is going to be the SEC. And is the SEC still the most dominant conference in college football? Well, I would say no, not this year. Alabama, you're not even top 5. Georgia, you're vulnerable. At the end of the day, you're beating up on everybody in the SEC, but I don't think that they'll just have a walk in the park with Ohio State. We already saw that. They won't have a walk in the park with Michigan. I don't know. But, because Michigan, it seems like when they play against a real one, things get a little out of hand. You know what I mean? And okay, then you look at Florida State. You say, oh, Florida State, they got the look. They got the look. I'm telling you. And then, you know what? Even Penn State, you say they could possibly, if they play disciplined enough, they could go toe-to-toe with Georgia. Georgia's not the same Georgia that's won the last 2 national championships. Let's keep it real. They had a tough time with Auburn. Auburn gets absolutely cooked by LSU the next week. But that just goes to show you that teams are playing up to that caliber. But then you see Arkansas almost beat Alabama. So then you tell yourself, these are teams that are getting absolutely sparked outside of the conference, but they're having their way with the big-time teams in the conference. So The SEC is not as dominant as it's been over the last 20 years. And you say to yourself, what if Georgia was to lose 2 games? And what if Alabama was to lose 2 games this year? Do you still put these teams in the Final Four this year? No, you don't. They don't have the edge like they've usually had over the years. Georgia even losing 1 game could possibly be an issue with them getting in here. Think about that. Because Georgia, who did Georgia really play? Georgia doesn't play the hard side of the SEC. They don't. They play in the easier portion of the SEC. Let's keep it real. They don't have to do what Alabama does, where they play LSU and you got Auburn already on your schedule as is. I know Georgia's one big matchup is Florida. That's it. But then you look at who Alabama has to play. They got to play Ole Miss. They got to play Mississippi State. They got to play all these schools that really hate them, even though I know everybody in the conference hates them. But still, Alabama, you understand why they always get their way. But Georgia has been so dominant that you don't need to, you kind of look past who they're actually playing. And we know in a few weeks they're going to all be playing some FCS school or some Sun Belt school. And this is where the SEC really, to me, has to grow up with everybody else. Because I'm going to keep it real with you. The Big 12, Big 10, those are going to be great games every single week. Though it's a mini playoff going on in those realigned conferences once that happens. ACC is going to be able to have a bit of that too. But the SEC is getting Texas and Oklahoma. Will they really help bolster up the conference? Or will they be a detriment to the conference? Because then you have Oklahoma and Texas who are going to probably have to take a few years to adjust to the SEC. They're not going to be the top teams of the SEC, possibly Oklahoma. But Texas will be a 50-50 bag because you got to look at how Texas A&M came into the SEC and dominated early after a few years of being there because they were always good for the SEC. But if Texas was good for the SEC, they would have been there a long time ago. Same thing goes for Oklahoma. They're just chasing money now, from what you can see. And pretty much that's the right thing, but they won't have the same luxuries that they had before. It won't be, okay, if you show up and have the best record in conference, you're going to be considered for the national championship. It's not like that anymore. When you have a conference to where they treat you as the creme de la creme of the conference, and then you leave that conference, the conference loses its aura in a sense. But the Big 12 was able to circumvent that by buying teams. You know what I mean? They bought 8 teams to come to the conference after Texas and Oklahoma left, and people gladly came to the conference. That's the thing. People gladly came to the Big 12. Once you say we don't have Texas and Oklahoma here, we're here open bidding, baby. You lost Nebraska, you lost Colorado, Colorado crawled right back. So, that's the future of the Big 12, that they're going to be a monster conference. And then the future of the Big 10 is just they're going to be a monster national conference. What is the SEC going to be? That's my thing. The SEC is going to be a Southern-based conference. That's it. But the other 2 conferences are going national. So that means that they can probably start beating them in the recruiting game as well, too. So it's going to be a lot of different elements that play into college football's future. And I feel like the SEC's dominant days of just destroying the rest of college football, where they could send their worst team into a mid-majors conference and top team and absolutely beat them by 30. Those days are done and over with. And I don't know if those days ever existed, because Vanderbilt has never been able to really just whoop anybody, period. You know what I mean? I know they had a few times where they whooped some people, but we know a lot of times Vanderbilt is a team that gets scheduled for a reason. But we know that on their best day, they'll beat the Coastal Carolinas of the world. It don't matter how good they are. And that's one thing we do know. But now with the SEC, you can't trust that idea anymore. You have moments where you got Mississippi State going in here playing against teams that they used to use as crash test dummies, beating them by 3 or getting beat by 3. So you have to look at all that and take it into fruition that the SEC is not changing with the times. Okay. They were used to a certain way of recruiting where, you can bring in guys because the tradition of your school and really the checkbook of your alumni. And I think now that doesn't factor in. Guys want to play for the best programs. They don't want to play for the program that's the establishment. They want to play for programs that are on the up and up building great things. They don't want to be a part of a program that is still living in yesteryear. So, there's a lot of factors that play into this. And hopefully I'm just talking some bullshit. But at the end of the day, I think that the SEC is going to a place where a lot of us don't expect them to go to. And that's not being a dominant conference anymore, because they just, to me, are not going with the times. Getting Texas and Oklahoma was nice, but you didn't get a national situation, but you are the Southeast Conference. So it does make a little sense as well, too. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about our games tonight in college football. We got 2 games in the Conference USA tonight. Last night we had 2 games in the Conference USA, 1 Sun Belt game last night. Southern Mississippi got absolutely worked. Also, Liberty eked it out against Middle Tennessee State. That seems to be getting better by the week. And then you had Jacksonville State get a comeback win. They actually spotted Western Kentucky 10 points, wound up winning the game 20-17. So that worked out pretty good for them last night as well, too. So let's go ahead and jump into our first game, which is going to be FIU and Sam Houston State. And Sam Houston State's coming into this one very ready to get themselves a win, but nothing is guaranteed. Let's just know that. But, Sam Houston has been kind of going through the motions a little bit. They just haven't been really good. You know what I mean? They've been good enough to cover, but they just haven't been good enough to win games. And, they're still seething over that loss against Jacksonville State. I know I am, because them boys was up 21-7 and still figuring out a way to lose that game. But Sam Houston is getting closer and closer. Last week, they lost by 14 to New Mexico State. This week, they're going against Florida International. Florida International got surprised last week because they thought they were up to something. They wound up playing UTEP, and UTEP absolutely sparked them last week. They beat them 27-14. Nobody had UTEP winning that game. And, it's just been a rough start to conference play for FIU. Liberty beat them 38-6 to open up conference play, and then they got beat by New Mexico State 34-17. So they've been getting rocked and rolled in these games. But this is a good game for them to try to get to bounce back in. And they are the dog here, but it's understandable. Both of these teams are 0-3 in conference play. So whatever they did before conference play really doesn't matter. But when you look at Sam Houston State's resume, they played a lot better. They opened up the season against BYU. They lost by 14, and they only gave up 14. They played against Air Force, a number 22 team in the nation. They lost by 10, but only gave up 13 points. They played against Houston. Houston was the game that really sparked them up. They actually lost that one 38-7. And then the Jacksonville State game, they led throughout the whole game and dropped it in the end. The Liberty game, they were back and forth with Liberty, who is considered the front runner, best team in the Conference USA. They wound up beating them, getting beat by 5. And then last week, they got beat by double digits again. But if they've only given up 35 plus points in 2 of these games. The rest of these games, they've actually been able to stay up with their competition. So I know that's why they're the favorite, because they look a lot better coming into this game. But FIU, though, already has a win under their belt, so they know how to win football games. It should be a pick-em. to be honest with you. But the +5 is the right play, in my opinion. I'm taking FIU with the +5. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it shakes out. But I truly do feel that this is going to be one of our better games of this week. In Conference USA on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm hooked. I'm loving it. I know that they only have 9 teams, and it seems like now they play during the week. They're not playing on Saturdays anymore. So it's fun. It's fun to see them do this, but we know one thing. We know we got to get back to our Mac Attack Tuesdays and Wednesdays, man. I can't wait to get with the Mac, man. I can't wait to see those games. So with that, that's where we're going. +5 on FIU. Hopefully they go ahead and be a lot better than they were last week. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into New Mexico State and UTEP. New Mexico State, UTEP. New Mexico State's coming into this game 4-3. You have a UTEP team that's coming in here 2-5, +3 on the spread, over under 47.5. You have a New Mexico State team. Got a good win last week. Good bounce back from what happened early in the season, because they play against UMass, and UMass kind of embarrassed them. You didn't see that coming, but UMass wound up beating them. So they've been decent since then. They went 2-2 after that. They went 2-1 after that stretch. So, they were 2-2. And after the bye week, they've won their next 2 out of 3. After losing by 3 to Hawaii at Hawaii, they've been a lot better of a team. They've won both their last games by double digits against both the teams that are playing tonight in the prior game with FIU and Sam Houston. They beat both of them back-to-back weeks. So right now they're looking at a 2-1 conference record. And they only lost to the best team in conference, and that's going to be Liberty. But they lost by 16 that day. You got UTEP, a team back at home. They're going against one of their arch rivals. Yes, New Mexico State and UTEP are rivals. And you look at this, you have a team that lost 4 in a row, that wound up snapping that 4 in a row, that 4-game losing streak with a nice double-digit win. Now they play against New Mexico State at home, and when you look at what they've done at home, they've got 1 win at home, and they was against Incarnate Word. So you kind of doubt UTEP, but the energy they played with last week and the defense they played last week, if they can go ahead and translate that into today, I think that we got ourselves an upset here, and that's what I'm banking on, is that the UTEP Miners go ahead and get the upset tonight. I have them set up here at the number here for them. Let's see where we're at with UTEP. UTEP, I have UTEP at a +125 tonight on the money line. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll go from there. But actually, though, I also like UTEP on the spread as well, too. So let me double check my bets, because I don't want to just be throwing out a bet to you guys and it's not the bet. It looks like that I have this set up for the money line. So that's where we're going to go with this one. It should be a lot of fun, and I look forward to it. And I think that we are on to something big here with the game tonight. I think that this is going to be one of our better games as well too. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch both of these games tonight. So, with that, that's going to be a wrap on our CFB Wednesday night. So when I get back, we're going to jump into Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, we're back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. So pretty much I am putting some things together for us and everything like that. And I really do like the way that these games are setting up tonight for the Talkin Tickets and everything like that. And I'm actually putting together one last group because I didn't have the UTEP group. That's why I was kind of at a little bit with that one. So just bear with me for a hot second. I'm just putting this one together so I can upload it for you guys real quick, man. But all in all, though, we do got some good games going today, man. I think that we have ourselves the right flow. You know what I mean? The right flow. And this is where we're at. We got the WNBA tonight. We got the Aces and the Liberty, and this game is going to be in New York City tonight. This is actually going to be in Brooklyn, to be honest, for a matter of fact, over at Barclays. Now, I will say this: I think Barclays is the better arena for a boxing match, and I think that the Garden is a better arena for events like concerts and basketball games and hockey games and things like that. And boxing matches are really cool at the Garden as well too. But the Garden, they're a little bit more, organized. In Brooklyn go hard. You know what I mean? That's all I can say is Brooklyn go hard. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happens in Brooklyn is that it's go hard. But tonight, I got the Aces +6, and then we also have the Aces money line +175 first half. Then we're also going to go ahead and take the first quarter under 42.5 here. So that's what we're going with. That's where the way we rocking with that one. And then we also have the Liberty going under 87.5 points tonight. I'm expecting some defense. So, girls, I need defense tonight from you. The Aces, though, they are looking to lock down their second title back-to-back. First to get a back-to-back since I think the Sparks did. Or I think it was the Lynx that probably got the last back-to-back. But all in all, though, they are trying to make some history tonight. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And that's going to be the WNBA Game 4 finals bets. Now we have ourselves the FIU Sam Houston bets. We have the +5 on FIU tonight, the over 20.5 +100 first half. I got Sam Houston first quarter, half a point, -115 first quarter. Then we have the FIU over 17.5 team total -115. Then we have New Mexico State UTEP bets. We have UTEP money line +125, the under 23.5 -120, not -1120 first half. And then we have New Mexico State +110 first quarter tonight. Then we also have UTEP going over 22.5 point team total. So we move forward. Let's go ahead and get into the ALCS Game 3 bets. We got the under 9 here with the overall game. We got the Astros money line +110 first 5 innings. Then we have the Astros +165 alternate run line. And then we have the Rangers going under 4.5 runs. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be our tickets for today. And with that, that's going to be a wrap on today's show. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best. There is no me without you. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And I'll be back at you tomorrow. You guys enjoy your day, and let's go ahead and cash some tickets, and let's win the day. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.